Welcome back to Vice Grip Garage for day 5 of Hot Rod Power Tour. The final day. We've got about 170 miles today to get over to Bristol, Tennessee to the last great Coliseum. We're going to have an absolute blast, and today's drive is spectacular. It winds through the hills. There's going to be a lot of views and stuff like that. Right now we're going through the usual, checking all the fluids and oils and such. Right now the Dew car, perfect. Jessica's checking Longmire. How's that looking? Full? I'm going to check the Ford here in a second. We've got to run over to a parts store. We've got to do the usual stuff. Let's jump in. It's going to be quite a long day, actually. The Dew car has been doing absolutely fantastic. Knock on wood, zero issues. Took it for a parts run last night. That was a ton of fun. Yep, wheels are straight. Jessica's throwing the wheel back on. Longmire's not burning a single drop of oil. It's just incredible. I put this engine together 12 years ago, maybe, something like that. And it's just been chugging right along. Haven't had any. The only thing we got going on right now is there's a weird brake light fuse that started burning randomly, and it pops it every now and then. We got to try to figure. There's got to be a short or something. This truck here, well, let's see what we got. We just changed it. Got it right on the full mark, so we can keep an eye on that today. We changed the sparkulators last night in the lot here. We changed the lightning hoses. We got a pretty hurt cylinder back here that we're going to be working on today, and by working on it I mean we're going to be pinning the ears back, feeding her some coal and whatnot. We got to see if we can bring that back around. It might just be gummed up rings. We got to stop and get a hose. This thing is so close to bursting. When it builds pressure in the system, this woven part actually bulges out. So we're very lucky we've made it this far, to be quite honest. We've changed the battery cable. Of course, we had to put the new poly carburetor on and fuel lines. But other than that, she's been trucking right along. A guy might pick up another filter today. This one's looking a little sorry, just to have it with as well. Tires are doing good. Of course, the front ones look new. The back ones, so-so, but that good old feller we bought this from threw in, I believe, well, let's just look. I never even checked. Highway terrain. I think that's just called a radio. No, they're not the same, but nonetheless, they look a lot newer than the front ones. So we got some spares. It's good to know we've got that. All the electrical seems to be working. Tail lights, headlights, blinkers even work on the truck, which is great. It's nice to have all that stuff when you're on tour, because you get into a group of people that don't know you or don't know your driving capabilities. You know, they can sneak up on you. For example, when Longhorn's brake lights went out yesterday, Jessica's been following Chad quite a bit, so he knows how to pace her and stuff like that. But otherwise, you can get right up in a guy's tailgate. So we try to make sure we always have the essentials on the rig anyway. So today's route, like I say, it's about 170 miles. We've got a bunch of checkpoints. It's the official Hot Rod Power Tour map. And I think today is going to be the most jam-packed day, because there's not a lot of highway or sections where faster cars can pull away from us. It's going to be 30 to 45 miles an hour for the better part of the day. So cruise here. Let's get over to Napa and grab some parts. Well, we picked up a rad hose, some more fuses for Longmire, and some more Berryman. I'll probably put that hose on at the fuel station here, so that way the other folks in the group have something to do while I'm fiddling around. Breakfast of Champions. It's in the Geneva Convention if you want to look it up. I'm cooling down the rad with yesterday's Old Mountain Dew. You know, that seems to be going good. Not really. And the concern I have is this hose appears to be a bigger diameter than our new hose albeit the part number is exactly the same. So I'm not sure. Might just be this aftermarket performance rad here. Just ignore that. That's AI. That's not really happening. And we're gonna have to really work this over the rad. This neck side might be just fine, but not sure. Confirmage on negative edge thermostat. You can tell when it just flows and flows and flows. If you're in a pickle and you need to stop it, you got to create the stop to high side, low side pressurizationals and science words, or just stick the hose on like this because it's not going to go uphill. Anywho's, this is on tight, and I was looking at this. The old hose looked like this. That just doesn't seem right. I think they're cut to fit. Problem we're still going to have. Uh-oh. But I'm going to snip this off a little bit, just so it's more of a proper anglage. And then we'll try to do the slip and walizationals on the thing here. See what happens. Hose is on, and then you got to use the proper antifreeze with these old Fords. Otherwise they don't cool right. Oh, you're so close. Keep on. There you go. You're barely missing. It's really good. There. I got a different idea. Well, purified drinking water, that's nothing better than that. We're almost there. We just need like 3 gallons. Chad, not the other Chad, is coming in with the soft bag approach. I see the block. I can't feel these fingers, so let's use those two. Oh, look at this. I think we got it, Chad, not the other Chad. Oh, maybe not. I think we're running out of water. It's sounding fuller. Oh, it's right. We just need just a touch. That might do it. You know what to say about teamwork? It's more expensive labor. Reliability on the old custom cab just went up about 2.7%. Ironically, and it's thick, you can cut it with a butter knife. The route is right there, this 4-way intersection. You just start heading out. Well, we just grabbed lunch down here at Stone Horse Pour House or something. I don't know. It was good. Not bad. Gonna fill the cups. We're gonna head up into the mountains to a really cool town called Boone. And map is showing traffic's really heavy. We're definitely catching up to the group, but it's gonna be a ton of fun. This is what it's about, hitting the back roads, seeing all these small towns, and whatnot. Ooh. Was that a Volkswagen Atlantis? I don't know what that was actually. made it over the mountain pass. We're on the other side of Boone, cute little town. Ford did okay. I mean, she's lacking the HPs, but we made her up about 3/4 throttle, sometimes full throttle to get over the pass. But the most important thing is it never got hot. It was like 195, probably the most. Car got to 200, then immediately cooled down, and that's not bad. It's got a 190 thermostat in it. Old Longmire, 184 degrees. That truck just doesn't even make sense. So far, all 3 rigs running very, very good. We're just gonna make our way down the other side of the pass now, down into Bristol, but we got some amazing views still yet to drive through. I'm really looking forward. This is my favorite part, is just cruising. It's not the interstate driving, it's the cruising. We just watched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, including ourselves, go the wrong way and make loops through campgrounds and different things. And finally some squad units came out and started blocking the wrong entrances and trying to get us corralled. We got to drive all the way around the drag strip this year, I guess, and then back around the backside of the what is it called? Stadium. And see, this isn't even the right entrance. They said 3 and this is 4. So we're just kind of on a journey. And I guess we're dragging, well, you can't see now, but there's probably 1,000 cars behind us, maybe more. So, hey, hope it works. Working our way around. Boy, there's so many people pouring in, and it's already basically full down there. All right, look up here. You guys could drive anything to power tour. We got a stock Impala. We got like a Honda something. I think that's a Mercedes. We got a Silverado, a new one, Fiera. It doesn't matter. I mean, people might say, oh, it's got to be a muscle car or whatever, but really, it really doesn't matter. It's about the journey and the fun. And I've seen everything on this power tour over the years, including minivans. They're getting real snazzy. Wow, look at this. Look at all those cars. Say hi. We made it to Bristol unscathed. No injuries other than our egos were sweating and miserable and hot. But the trucks are doing good. And we found the first shade trees we could find after riding the clutches all the way around the entire building, only to find out that was just to get a picture with the Bristol sign, which we didn't really need. Mr. Good just took this entry and drove right in, so now we know for next year. Well, that was a ton of fun. We sat and talked to folks for a long time, all the way till it closed. Actually, we just got asked, we got to start scooting out, they said. I didn't even get to go into the actual event, but everybody else did. I misspoke a day or two earlier. The girls did make it in time for their badges, but we didn't, obviously. So the girls, congratulations to them in the Mountain Dew car. They are official long haulers, and they got their plaque or whatever it is. I'll show you guys here in a bit. We're actually headed to supper somewhere special, and I decided to take you guys with me. You're gonna really like this. Stick around, we're headed there right now. Well, we made it downtown Bristol, Virginia, actually, just right over the border, to one of my favorite places to eat, throw some groceries down, and also, you know, wet the back deck down. I'll show you where we're at. Oh, of course, Michael Waltrip Brewing, of course, the brother of Daryl. This place is pretty awesome. They're actually going to give us a tour here a little bit, how the process works, how they brew their beer, everything like that. And we're going to grab a bite to eat. They have a bunch of car shows and stuff here as well. We were here for the stadium super trucks, if you remember that. We had the stadium trucks lined up out here. There you go. Here's where this stuff is made. So what does this thing here do?
So this is our fermentation right here. So this beer in here is feeding on, the yeast is feeding on the beer in here right now and creating alcohol. So we keep it in the water so that way no oxygen can get back into the beer to ruin the beer. The CO2 can get out, but no oxygen can get back in.
Fancy. How many kegs do you produce?
This is 30 barrels right here. So this will produce 60 half barrels, which is what you imagine being a keg.
Oh, jeez. Can I get one of these in the pantry?
It won't fit.
So this is where all the mixolizing goes on?
That's right, yeah. So this is our grain hopper right here. So as you're brewing, that the mill will grind all the grain, sit in that hopper, fill it up into your mash tun, it'll mix with the water, and it'll start to create that wort, which will eventually become beer. Yeah.
Wild. It's all computerized, digital
It's
stuff.
all digital, yeah.
You don't have like measuring cups or compasses or anything?
Jack has a few great little scales here that he uses for hop measurement and stuff like that.
Okay. That's wild.
Feel free to climb up there and peek in
Yeah,
the tank. Yeah,
let's do it. I'll clock out if I start to fall. Oh, that's cool. It looks so much bigger looking in than from the outside.
Looking from the outside, you're like, oh, there's no way that can fit.
Whoa. Oh boy.
I'm like anxious.
Oh yeah. Wait, does that line up?
That's why you kind of hug at the wall right here.
That's wild. This building was built in 1910. It was originally a whiskey distillery-ish, but Chad, not the other Chad, just pointed out, look at all, these are all different because they're just handmade. Different lengths, widths. You can see a lot of hewed cut marks in these. Some of these beams have tick marks for counting. These beams are painted, but they would have been on this catwalk. Of course, no railing or any safety to haul it in here. Now they've got fancy augers and stuff like that, but pretty nice setup. This is the second floor for additional seating and parties and stuff like that, but all the beams and the hardwood floors in this building are still original. Obviously the brick and masonry and stuff. 100-year-old elevator still works.
You guys want to ride?
Where are you going?
Downstairs?
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Is that the first floor?
Yeah, I'll go on the first floor.
All right.
Come on.
Anybody want to ride?
All right.
Yeah. This thing will hold 2,000 pounds.
Hey, it's way better than the one
Oh,
behind.
I better step off then.
Hold on, let's do the math here.
You always see these in like Batman Returns and stuff, like these
I
elevators.
feel like it's going to like a swanky like penthouse apartment up top, right? Doesn't that make you feel like?
Yeah. I know, we feel like we're going to the lair.
Now we're going to the basement.
Sightlines
This is
were
the
just
back cave.
completely open. Like, we didn't have any of this.
So Ford's been doing good, and I gotta say it's not missing anymore. I think the Berryman installed new rings in it, but it's definitely running a lot better, and it's getting better the longer we drive it, if that makes sense. Old Longmire's keeping up just fine to the Ford. Actually, this is pretty interesting. So you would assume the Ford 302 V8 would make more horsepower and torque than the Chevrolet 292 straight six, but it actually doesn't. The 292 straight six cylinder makes a handful of more horsepower than the 302 V8, and at minimum 40 more foot-pounds of torque than the 302 V8. That little thing is a stump puller. They're just legendary engines, similar to the Ford 300, I would say, but yeah, so the six cylinder actually has more horse and torque than this guy, but this has got longer legs, I think, and I only have to shift 3 times where he's rowing 5 gears over there. But it's going good. There's also been some questions, comments, concerns on how this truck rides, with the front end higher and the back lower. No, we're not trying to do the Carolina squat thing or whatever. It's because of the setup, the bags. And I'm not a bag guy, but I'll try to explain it in layman's terms best as I can. Basically, the limiting factor is the shocks. So when this truck is aired out or no air in the system, it sits perfectly flat and level on the ground. It looks fantastic. That's the major goal, essentially. Well, you have to have short enough shocks for that to happen so they can travel into each other, and the bumper in this case sits on the ground. Now when we raise it up, we raise it as high as the bags will let until the shocks are maxed out, and then it's like a chain essentially, and it won't let the rear lift anymore. And if you think, well, we'll just put a longer shock in it, you could do that and get more lift, but when you go to lower it, the shocks are going to bottom out before the vehicle is on the ground, and that's obviously very bad, bottoming those shocks out like that. So this right now is the best combination shock to let it lay flat on the ground but also give us some decent travel. And the front of the truck doesn't necessarily need to be this high, but we do it for oil pan clearance and things like that, railroad tracks, you name it. It can come down a little bit, but it starts rubbing if it gets any lower in there. So maybe we need to do a different configuration with the shocks, angle them different or something. I'm sure there's a way. I'm just not a bag guy. I've got to figure it out, take some time and do some research and see if I can figure it out. But yeah, so that's why the truck sits like this. Well, we just made it to our motel. We went to a little town called Franklin, found a pretty neat place, much more affordable, but it was about 30 miles outside of Bristol. Had a really good time at Waltrip's place. Big thank you to Michael, Brian, and Nathan. Tour was a lot of fun. But let's check out Jessica and Haley's plaque, sign, art thing. There it is. 5 days you get this puppy. So was it Hampton?
Yeah.
Atlanta, basically, right? Hampton, Columbia, Rockingham, Concord, Bristol. Nice little Corvette on there. Long hauler sign. Congratulations. We going again next year?
Oh gosh, yeah. And I will never ride with somebody again. I think I will be driving.
Even with me?
I mean, you're fun to ride with, but it was,
That was a trick question.
it was a lot more fun to drive.
Yeah, maybe Longmire next year. Maybe we have a different giveaway car. Who knows? But it's a lot of fun. Chad, my buddy, that was not this Chad, the other Chad, that was driving that truck, said they're coming back. He's going to have his own rig. He's got a bunch of classics already. This is a guy with a Suburban and Camaro and a bunch of stuff. He is quickly falling in love with that truck. So the plot thickens, I'll tell you that much. We still have 350 to 400-ish miles back home tomorrow in the 66 Ford, 66 Chevy, and 81 Regal. That's going to be a feat in itself, but that is going to do it for a Hot Rod Power Tour 2023. Thank you guys for following along. If you haven't checked this thing out, please do. And there were so many of you that came up and said, hey, you've inspired me to do this year, and I brought my daughter, I brought my son, or some of you brought your whole family, and that's just incredible. And it's supporting events like this that are keeping this thing alive, and I just love seeing all the old classic rusted out this and that just held together with shoestrings and duct tape. That's what it's about, is a journey and just having fun. We're definitely going to be doing it next year as well, but that's going to do it for this year. And hey, we got a revival coming really soon. You're going to like it a lot. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it very much. See you soon.